Have you ever read about the Bach Flower Remedy and thought, oh my God, this is me. This is exactly me. And then 5 minutes later, you read another one and then another one. And then suddenly all of them somehow sound very accurate. It happens to me. And if that has happened to you, you are not crazy. Actually, it often reveals something very important about emotional healing and human psychology. Because the truth is, most people are not just one emotional state, especially sensitive people. So if you want to know what to really do with this, so you can actually choose a handful of relevant remedies for yourself or your client, stay with me. Hi, I'm Michelle. I help sensitive and self-aware people heal emotions and their lives using Bach Flower Remedies on themselves in a way that actually creates real and lasting transformation. And today I want to talk about something that almost everybody experiences when they start learning the remedies. Why every remedy suddenly feels like you. Because there are actually several very important reasons for this. And understanding them will help you choose remedies much more clearly and deeply. And if you're stuck here, why don't you just come to my free live class? Move past what's been keeping you stuck. You'll leave with valuable insight, a personal step forward with the remedies and the tools to help you choosing the right next remedy for you. Part 1. Humans are layered. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is thinking that they should fit into one single remedy. But human beings are very layered. Maybe you are suppressing emotions like an agrimony type. Maybe you overgive like centauri would. Maybe you carry amazing amount of responsibility like oak. You feel guilt like pine. You overthink like white chestnut. You fear rejection like chicory. You hide exhaustion like alum, and all that at the same time. Not because the system is wrong, but because human beings are very complex. Part 2. Trauma creates multiple coping strategies. Now, this is a big reason. When people go through difficult experiences, they often develop many emotional survival patterns simultaneously. For example, someone may become hyper-responsible, people-pleasing, emotionally suppressed, perfectionistic, anxious, mentally overactive. These are not contradictions, simply adaptations. And this is why so many sensitive people recognize themselves in many remedies. Part number 3, some remedies describe temporary states and other deeper constitutions. So this is extremely important. Sometimes a state describes who you truly are underneath, and sometimes it describes what just happened to you. Let me give you an example. A naturally joyful person may become exhausted and hopeless after years of overwhelm. That does not mean that hopelessness is their true nature forever. It may simply be the layer currently asking for healing. And this is why remedies work so profoundly. You start separating your essence from your wounds, from your coping strategies. Part 4. Sensitive people absorb a lot. So sensitive people especially tend to recognize many remedies because, well, they genuinely may feel many emotional atmospheres. They do absorb everybody's stress, expectations, tension, family patterns, emotional dynamics. And so over time, they can really lose touch with what is truly theirs. This is why remedies like walnut can become incredibly important, not only for change, but for energetic differentiation. You might feel sudden sadness that simply isn't yours. In that case, mustard for sudden sadness might be taken. But it's really walnut for energetic protection that is the important remedy here. Part number 5, you are not meant to perfectly fit in one remedy. And I think this one relieves many people. The goal is not find the remedy that defines your entire personality forever. The goal is what is most alive right now? What is asking for healing? What is costing me energy? Or what patterns keep repeating? Sometimes the most important remedy is not even the one that is the most dramatic at this time. Sometimes the deepest remedy is the quiet pattern underneath everything. Part number 6, we all move through many emotional states in life. So this is another important thing to understand. Most human beings will experience almost all of these emotional states at some point in their lives. At one moment, you may feel fear. At another moment, grief. At another moment, guilt, resentment, exhaustion, uncertainty, loneliness, hopelessness, emotional suppression. Now, that does absolutely not mean that your personality changes every 5 minutes. It just simply means that you are human. Sometimes people panic because they recognize themselves in many, many remedies, and then they think, oh no, what's wrong with me? I was there. But often nothing is really wrong with you. You are simply moving through life like everybody else. The remedies describe emotional states that belong to the human experience itself. And especially if you have lived a full, difficult, sensitive, or emotionally intense life, it makes complete sense that many of these states feel very familiar to you. Part 7. The question is not, do I have this sometimes? I think this is where many people become confused with remedy selection, especially in the beginning when they start learning about the remedies, both as a practitioner or a client. Because if we are honest, well, most of us can recognize at least a little bit of all these 38 remedies. The real question is not, do I sometimes experience this emotion? Or do I sometimes do this pattern? The real question is, what is truly running my life right now? What is draining your energy? What patterns keep repeating? What emotional state keeps shaping your decisions, your relationships, your nervous system, and reality? And honestly, yes, sometimes people genuinely need many remedies. That is completely normal. Human beings are very dynamic. We change, we go through phases, layers open and close, we deepen our healing, and maybe it becomes also more self-improvement because we are so aware at some point and less emergency. So please do not think something must be terribly wrong with me because I need many remedies. Sometimes it simply means your system is carrying many active layers at once, and you are very aware of that. Part number 8, emotional patterns often accumulate on top of each other. So this is something people rarely talk about enough. Emotional states do not always stay isolated. Most of the time, no. Very often, one pattern or one unresolved pattern slowly creates another. For example, someone starts with anxiety, but because they are anxious, they become hypervigilant and they start overgiving to please others, trying to keep everybody happy and prevent conflict. And then because they constantly overgive, they become exhausted. And because they are exhausted, they become very irritable and angry at others. And because their anger, they start to feel guilty for being angry. And after feeling guilty for years, resentment starts building underneath. And after carrying resentment and exhaustion for a very long time, hopelessness slowly appears. And then eventually, sadness joins in, or numbness, or despair, or emotional emptiness, and so on. So this is why remedy work can become so profound. You start realizing that many emotional states are not random. They are connected chains. And sometimes when people recognize themselves in many remedies, it is because they are not dealing with one isolated emotion anymore. They are dealing with years of accumulated emotional adaptations, all layered on top of each other. Part number 9, we want to heal everything at once and fast. And I would also like to add this. Sometimes when we start healing, we desperately want to heal as fast as possible. Specifically with Bach Flower Remedies, people who fall into the Bach Flower Remedies or who meet Bach Flower Remedies, they've probably already tried many things for years. So we want to heal fast. We don't want to wait years anymore. So what do? We start wanting to take every remedy, every supplement, every healing modality, every emotional insight all at once, because a part of us just thinks, if I just do more, maybe I can finally get out of this. And honestly, I really understand that feeling very deeply. But healing is usually not about attacking yourself with as many remedies as possible. It is about learning to listen more carefully to yourself, learning discernment, learning rhythm, learning what is truly central now. And this is actually one of the main reasons why I created my course Bloom into Balance, because I saw so many people feeling overwhelmed by healing, by the remedies, confused about where to start, doubting themselves constantly, or jumping from one emotional state right into the other without really understanding the deeper patterns underneath. So inside Bloom into Balance, I guide you step by step exactly through how to discern what is most important right now for you, how to understand the remedies more deeply, how to build a remedy strategy, and what to start with first, what may come later, and what still needs uncovering underneath the surface. This course is fully pre-recorded, so you can start whenever you want and move at your own rhythm. And you also have lifetime access, so you can come back to all the material again and again as new layers will open over time. Every month we also have live lessons together where you can ask me anything yourself. So if you feel stuck in this process, confused by remedy selection or overwhelmed by your emotional landscape, this course was designed exactly for that. So what can you do here? Finally, I want to give you a few practical tips, because sometimes even after understanding all of this, people still struggle enormously to choose remedies. And honestly, that can happen for two reasons. So either you genuinely have many active emotional layers at once. That's fine. Or you struggle with discernment itself, and both are okay. So let's assume we go for option 1. You genuinely feel a lot of things at the same time. You need a lot of remedies at the same time. One remedy that is sometimes recommended in that case is holy. Holy is a remedy for hate, anger, rage, but it does other things than that as well. So it brings movement, clarity, openness, emotional circulation when everything feels emotionally entangled or tangled together. Now, if your problem is more, I truly do not know where to go or what direction to take, then wild oat can actually be very beautiful, because wild oat is deeply connected to direction, orientation, and helping you feel your path more clearly. And then there is another state entirely, the state where you constantly go back and forth. I need this remedy. Oh no, I don't need this one. I need this one. Oh no, I don't need it. So if you feel like that, then scleranthus is the remedy that can help you when you have that constant inner switching, doubting, and oscillating between 2 or more remedies. Sometimes the best place to start is not with the emotion underneath everything, but with the confusion itself, or the doubt itself, or the inability to choose itself. And once that settles a little, the deeper layers often become much more easy to see. So if you're looking for an entry point, a clear first remedy to start with, and the tools to use anytime you need it, why not come to my class? You leave with insight and a first step forward, with remedy advice and tools to take your first step forward. It's free, and we are generally a small group of people, so you can ask me any advice afterwards as well. How's that? So if every Bach Flower remedy seems perfect for you, that probably does not mean you are doing everything wrong. It just means that you are very layered. Maybe you are very sensitive. Maybe you adapted to many things, and you are just simply beginning to see yourself more honestly. And honestly, that awareness is actually already the beginning of your healing. Because once you can truly see the patterns, you can finally begin working with them consciously instead of living inside them unconsciously. If this video helped you, let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt like every remedy sounded like you? I sure have. Because I promise you, you are not alone in that. If you have more questions about the remedies, I have a beginners playlist, I have more advanced playlist, and I'll leave all of that in the description. Thank you so much for being here with me. I loved making this video, and I'll see you in the next one.